Every single district in India is probably governed with a DIC. What are all the sunrise sectors where there needs to be given a lot of thrust and importance? Now, DICs have already have their own schemes, they have their own ideas in place, which is supposed to be quite interesting. Good morning and welcome to the fifth session in Unit 4, Entrepreneurship and Small Business Management, where we are going to talk about the District Industries Center. Now, it's a very important topic. Why? Because the District Industries Center is a central sector scheme with an objective of promoting small village and cottage industry in a particular area. Whenever we talk about a DIC, when I say the district industry, every single district in India is probably governed with a DIC which tries to look into the small business promotion. And what they do is that they first identify the strength of that particular district, the number of opportunities that are there, and they also look up for entrepreneurs who could be the right match to start up this industry. The DICs have been established in various districts of India since 1978, which is very, very important. Why? Because that was the year it was launched. From that time onwards, they have been concentrating on the village and the cottage industries of India. So very, very important topic. Why? Because they tend to promote the concept of entrepreneurship at the small level as far as possible, followed by being established at the district level altogether. The District Industry Center provide all necessary services and support to facilitate entrepreneurs in setting up the MSMEs, especially when we are talking about the micro, small, medium enterprises. Now, why we are talking about this is that since they have a very, very niche role in terms of providing that support, in terms of understanding that district, they probably go a step ahead, a mile ahead in terms of establishing those small industries. Now, the biggest opportunity that one can realize from DIC is that they are understanding that every district will have certain challenges, will have certain advantages. Now, the District Industry Center will prepare a report and send it to the state level organizations. Also, they get support from the central level in terms of promoting entrepreneurship at various levels possible. Now, the another thing is that they play a very, very prominent role. Why? Because they are established by the Department of Commerce and Industry in the respective states, and they also have a sub-district factor that has been created. Now, such as if you look into various states such as Nagaland and all, even there also they have started creating up the DIC, that is the District Industry Center. So probably in every state, every union territory, we have gone about setting up the District Industrial Center. Now, this is promoted by the Department of Commerce and Industry in India. What they typically tend to do is that they try to first find out what are all the sunrise sectors where there needs to be given a lot of thrust and importance in terms of growth. Now, if you take in the state of Tamil Nadu, the concept of manufacturing small fireworks, crackers, matchbox industry, cottage industry has gained a lot of prominence because of the district industry centers giving a lot of importance and push for it. Now, if you see certain districts of Tamil Nadu, they've also given importance in terms of the leather industries also. So similarly, every state, every district will have something or the other in terms of an advantageous position, something which can really promote an employment opportunity for the youngsters in that particular area. So that's why we look into the role of the District Industry Center, which is very, very prominent in terms of promoting the business at various levels. Secondly, most of those villages do not have the opportunity of going to towns and city, or they don't have the educational awareness in terms of how to start it, where to take it forward, and what are all the finance schemes and systems that are being available. So now it becomes the responsibility of the DIC, who tend to look into this aspect, who tend to understand this entire concept, and then they start building up the entire package, the entire system altogether, so that these small people will get some sort of advantage and they can start moving further. Now, the other thing is that what are the main factor, the additional tier that has helped the industrial development to penetrate deeper into the rural sectors? That's a very, very important thing. And if you look into the assistance that they have been able to provide is in terms of running the DIC program. So you would see that they have come up with tailor-made training programs, customized training programs, to the extent of making people believe, understand how industries can be set up, how industries can be run. So they have really been doing a great amount of work in that particular area, followed by the single window clearance system. Why this is important today? If you go to a bank or to a financial institution, the biggest challenge probably would be to get a clearance in one shot. Why? Because there are huge amount of documentations which are involved. So a small-time farmer or a small-time entrepreneur comes and asks for a loan to start a business, there are going to be hundreds and thousands of questions which are going to be asked to him, and he might not find the answer in one go. So what happens here is that he might get demotivated by the factor that though I want to start an industry, but the system is not allowing me to do so. In that case, the DIC, the District Industry Center, become very, very helpful. They come in hand. Why? Because they provide a single window clearance system. They create a map through which all the clearance of all the documents, whatever needed factors are there, they would give it that automatically, and so that you can go forward and get the clearance done and you can start the business as early as possible. The next thing is that they start promoting industries in rural areas. Now, rural areas were supposed to be more concentrated only towards the agriculture. That's how the Indian economy has been shaping up for the last so many years. But then after the 1991 liberalization era and after the 2004, when the concentration was given towards entrepreneurship, we wanted every rural sector in India to become a prominent industrial area which could provide jobs to hundreds and thousands of people in that particular zone. So what DIC is trying to do here is that start creating industrialized centers, industrialized zones through which employment can be generated en masse. And also, if you start looking into the rural sector, since the availability of raw materials is at a closer proximity, it will be helpful for those small-time entrepreneurs to start up the industry easy. The logistics cost is also lesser, and probably this is also enabling them to get the clearances at a faster rate. Followed by, they provide employment to both rural and urban areas. Nowadays, if you happen to see towards the city of Bangalore, Noida, Hyderabad, Chennai, or probably any other metro cities in India, there's always been a divide about the lesser Bangalore, the greater Bangalore, the urban, the non-urban. The reason is very simple. Why? Because as the city started expanding, they were not able to accommodate all the people in that particular area itself, in that particular zone itself. What they wanted to do is that they wanted to expand the city to a particular district level. So they also started including certain rural districts into the city level, which was of course not directly bought in terms of the city map altogether, but they were bought in as a process of a greater development, a venture in a long term. So when you start looking into that concept, now what happens is that there is a lot of employment opportunities outskirts the city. Now, they might not be classified as a main living area or the cosmopolitan area, but definitely they can be classified as industrial areas and hubs, which could provide a huge opportunity in terms of employment. So keeping that in mind, definitely the district industry centers have done an enormous job by providing a lot of opportunity for the people in that sector, followed by the number of schemes that have been introduced, that has been launched, which fall under the ambit of the district industry center is huge. These schemes have been helpful in fulfilling the dreams, the roles of the industries. Now, DICs have already have their own schemes, they have their own ideas in place, which is supposed to be quite interesting. Why? Because the DIC's methodology of doing a business is quite interesting for us to understand. What they have seen here is that these are all centrally sponsored schemes, and there as well as they will have certain sectors which are recognized by the government of India itself. So DIC does not have to wait every time for a state government approval. Why? Because they have already been approved by the central government. So many sectors that are being covered under the DIC scheme altogether are pre-approved, and they are making a great sense to the people in the rural sector. So they will provide a lot of opportunities for them. So that's why the schemes are said to be very important. Now let's have a look into the scheme. Now, the Prime Minister's Employment Guarantee Program, which is one of the most important scheme that you can talk about, PMEGP. Now, this is a centrally sponsored scheme under the Ministry of Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises, which was launched in the year 2008. A very important thing altogether. Why? Because in the rural sector, we wanted at least the employment to be guaranteed for 100 days. That means 3 months and a little bit above on that, so that at least the people in the rural India are able to get a minimum employment program plan altogether. Under the scheme, what we tend to do is that we guaranteed the rural youth a kind of semi-skilled, unskilled labor factor, so that they are able to earn their daily wages and continue to run their family life. Plus, we also try to see here that through the PMEGP program, most of the people can start finding jobs in the rural as well as in the semi-urban areas. In the last 12 years, if you have seen, the PMEGP program has gone to such a high level that more than 32 lakh employment has been generated all over India in different forms and format. Now, this is something which I would not say it's like a permanent job. It's like a job where you will get completely like a government job kind of a sector. But then this has been something really fantastic enough to provide hope and confidence among the rural people that yes, they will get a job and they will be able to succeed. They will be able to run a minimum effort, a minimum family support altogether. Followed by the District Industry Center Loan Scheme altogether. This is for the self-employed as well as the small unit sector in towns and rural areas with population less than 1 lakh and 2 lakh, and the investment being less than the 2 lakh factor altogether. Now, what we are trying to do here is that if you go and understand with the ICICI venture for the entrepreneurship, for venture capital and academy, what they had did is that they had found out that in many districts of Maharashtra, there are a lot of self-employed units like tailoring, or probably handicrafts, or probably making of homemade foods. All these kind of businesses required a very small amount of money, and most importantly, they needed some sort of push from the financial sectors that could actually help them propel their dreams to the next level as far as possible. So keeping that in the mind, the district industry centers also understood this concept. They started identifying those districts which are very less populated, and the scheme that can be provided to them is less than 2 lakhs. So the investment is going to be a small amount, but that amount will help the young entrepreneurs in that area to start up a business like tailoring, handicraft, homemade foods, packaging, or something related to art and other kind of business. So this kind of factor will definitely help them to propel up that small momentum altogether. And as they start exceeding in their business turnover, probably that small industry can be converted to a large-scale employment scheme altogether. Followed by the functions of the district industry center. Now, there are various important functions that are being taken care or that are being done by the district industry center. One of them is the word called as the upliftment of the district, and to put that district on the industrial map of India. The most important thing that we find in our country is to elevate people out of poverty. Now, poverty is not a situation that is restricted only to India. Poverty is a situation that is found across the globe. But when you want to elevate poverty in a country, the best way to do it is to provide employment. When a country becomes 100% employed, that means the earning capacity of each and every member will start going up, which in turn will eradicate the poverty in this country. So that is why this becomes very, very important for the DIC to do the upliftment of every district, because DIC is a source of hope for every single citizen who can go back, rely on them, understand, yes, there is an opportunity, there is a growth center, I can go to them, I can ask for loans, and I can build my own industrial factor. So some of the functions that are being performed by the district industry centers are mentioned below. They are preparation of industrial profile of the district, which is very, very important. Why? Because as I have told you, the most important thing that we can ever look for is something called like a corporate database. We need to have a industrial profile database of each and every district in India, which is acting so that we will be able to understand the potential capacity that's available at that center. Followed by acting as a focal point of industrialization of the district. Now, what happens here is that as a young entrepreneur, whom should I rely upon? Where should I go? Whom should I go and ask if I am in doubt? So automatically the focal point of industrialization of the district comes from there. The opportunity guidance. I have an opportunity. I know that it is possible. Let's say it might be a healthcare, it might be a mechanic shop, it might be a tea shop, or it might be a business like a small scale hotel industry. But then I need some guidance who can tell me how exactly this business has to be run, where exactly I have to go and register, if there are some financial assistance, who is going to provide me. So with all that factors keeping in mind, DIC is definitely a boon for the entrepreneurs. Manpower assessment. Now what happens is that, as I've been speaking about the skilled and semi-skilled labor, this is very important for all of us to understand at this juncture that we have to develop our manpower based on skill and not just based on degree. Today, industries are looking up for skilled and semi-skilled laborers who can in turn turn the industry into success story. So again, when you are going to assess the manpower, the right kind of person for the right industry can be found out with the help of DIC and the infrastructure facility. Though it might be a rural area, though it might be a smaller zone altogether, but you cannot compromise on the infrastructure. If you need a plant, if you need some machineries, if you need some kind of factors that will assist you in terms of growth, in terms of development, definitely those things have to be identified and they have to be put forward. So identification of infrastructure facilities can be definitely done with the help of DIC. The next thing is preparing of techno-economic feasibility report, which is very, very important. Why? Because when you start promoting this will actually help you to find out what is the economic feasibility in that particular area, in that particular sector altogether. With this, I come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that all the information that has been shared through this particular session would be of a great help and resource to you. In the upcoming sessions, we shall talk about the Khadi Village Industry Scheme, which is a very, very important part in the entrepreneurship journey. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.